solutions and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number to call after the first break. Oh, boy. I've been thinking about lots of things recently. And one of the things that came to mind was when I was in the Marine Corps. And if you know, I joined the Marine Corps a couple years ago when I was 17. And I remember around September, something special happened. And for those of you who work for the federal government or for the military, you know that the fiscal year actually ends October 1. So what happens before that fiscal year? Well, you've got to deal with your budget. So it's very common, particularly back then, I'm sure now too. I was on the ground side. I worked in an armory, in the artillery and infantry, and also intelligence, in the air wing, all over the place. So around September-ish, we'd all have to go out to the range, using the machine gun range. For those of you know, the Mordeuse, that range. And we're out there firing everything we can possibly fire, getting it all out. Guys are like, hey, Sergeant Sharpe, do we still? Yeah, keep firing. Keep firing. Keep firing. Why? We had to get rid of all the ammo. If you had any left over, you had to get rid of it. We'd be out in the field, throwing smoke grenades everywhere. Got to get rid of the smoke grenades. We'd be firing blanks all over the place. Got to get rid of the ammo. He said, wait a minute, Larry, isn't that like waste? Yes. Isn't that kind of like fraud? Kind of. Why don't I get rid of it? If I don't get rid of it, I then can't get more money next year for it. Well, you didn't use it all. You didn't need it all. Your budget is now shrunk. Well, no one wants their budget shrunk, so you got to use everything. We also had budgets, excuse me, for repairs. Well, what if we didn't need it? Sledgehammer. I wish I was joking. We'd have to get a sledgehammer. And if you're a Marine, every unit has sledgehammers. That's kind of a thing we have. So sledgehammer. Whoops. I guess that sledgehammer hit those night vision goggles. Now, I'm telling you how old I am if you're in the military. Night vision goggles, that used to be a thing. Now it's just connected. That wasn't a thing when I was in. Much cooler now. Break it. Wait a minute, Larry, you gonna break it? Yeah. Order from the top. Got to make sure you got these issues. Or you're gonna lose your budget. Can't lose the budget. Wow, that sounds terrible. You Marines must be bad guys. Not necessarily. It was the system. It was the system. The system encouraged it. So we did it. And we had some people who weren't good. And boy, they took advantage of it. They really took advantage of it. And that part was, I think, the worst part. The people who really took advantage of it and literally would not really train. But at the end of the year, burn everything off like they did. Now, of course, the goal was a good goal. Hey, I want you to spend all the ammunition. I want you to go out there and have a budget for repairs. Why? Because again, if you've been in the military, if you train often, stuff breaks. It's just how it works. You run into a tree, you fall into a hole, you lose things, people get hurt. That's what happens when you train. You got to use ammunition. How can you train your Marines to shoot if they're not actually shooting? You got to do it. So the intent is a good intent. I want my trained Marines. I want my Marines feeling comfortable with their weapons and with their equipment. Of course I do. So I want them using it. In fact, I want them to break it and know how to fix it. I want them to be able to send it in and get it fixed, learn how to do it. I want that training. I want it all. I remember one captain who would make us sign things that we did stuff that we didn't do. Now I'm a corporal or lance corporal at the time. I'm going to tell my captain no. You should order me to sign something. I'm going to tell him no. I mean, I could have, but I was 19. I was a Marine, and I was loyal. Not sure most would have done it, but I get it. Why do I bring this up? Because it's a similar issue that we're seeing in Minnesota and now in New York too. Am I saying these people aren't bad people? I'm not. Am I saying we create a system that encourages the bad people to take advantage of it? Yes. Yes. We are making government programs that are begging scammers to come, and then the scammers come, and we're shocked. Oh, I can't believe the scammers came. Well, you made it perfect for the scammers, so the scammers come. You could make a better system where you'd have less scammers. Now, will you have scammers? Of course. There will always be scammers. Can't get rid of those. Can you make it less? Can you not make it so damn easy? Yes, you can do that. You can make it to where it's not so easy, to where I don't have to have so much oversight that the oversight costs more than the loss. And we're going to wind up making that happen. We're going to make new laws, new rules, new inspectors that's going to wind up costing more than a fraud. At one point, just let them have the fraud. We're going to spend less money on letting them have the fraud. That's how embarrassing this is. I want to be clear. I am not saying these scammers are good people. I'm not. I'm saying we set up a system that it was it bees to honey, or what is it? Flies to sugar, whatever. We made sure they came. We encouraged them to come to our country. Then we encouraged them to scam. And now we're surprised that they scammed. Oh, I'm shocked. Why did we encourage them to come? And you might go, Larry, I didn't. You didn't. But the government did. Yeah, it did. It encouraged them to come. It put them in those places purposefully. And then set up a system that was easily scammable. Like, wow, I'm so shocked. So you might go, okay, Larry, you're going to complain like you always do. Libertarian government, bad, blah, blah, blah. True. Guilty as charged. And I'm right. So what's the answer? Wise guy, smart Larry Sharpe. What's the answer? Well, here's the issue. Number one, if you're on the left, you're going to go, see, Larry, these are desperate people doing desperate things. If we just had more money, then it would be okay. Let's just give them more money. Guaranteed you'll see that. Okay, I get it. And again, to be clear, the average Democratic voter on the street honestly believes that's a compassionate thing. They're wrong, but they believe it. The leadership knows it doesn't work, knows it's a colossal waste of time, money, and energy, but will do it anyway because that's how they make their own money and everyone gets a kickback. So the leadership knows completely it's terrible. But the average Democrat in the street voting is like, oh, let's help them. See, they're desperate. They're all wrong. Well, that means the right is correct. No, because what will the right do? The right will say, well, the problem is they're breaking the law, so we got to put them in jail. Let's put them in jail. But they won't say change the system. The right will just say more people in jail. That's what I'm seeing now already. Or worse, end it. End it all. You might go, Larry, you're a libertarian. Don't you want that? No. I actually want a better community system. I think government can't do a good job. So let's get community to step up. The left will just say more money. The right will say cut it and put them in jail. Neither's good. The left will just make more fraud, and the right will make more of a black market. The answer is, and has always been, community. Larry, you're a broken record. Yes, and I'm right. I want you to imagine for a second. We didn't have this government program from the feds, just throwing cash at people, not checking up much, throwing cash. And then every once in a while, when something bad happens, I can fly in with my cape and go, Superman, I'm going to put people in jail. I'm the crime fighter. Look at me. I can do that. Or we don't have that. But we have a local community program run by the community, by local people. So if local money is going into local people, are you going to care where that money goes? Yeah, you are. You are going to care. Are you going to look more? Yeah, you are. Because you saw some of these frauds here in New York State. For those who don't know, New York State has a bigger potential. It's not 100% investigated yet, but when we figure it out, has the potential of up to 10 times what happened in Minnesota. And it's Medicare, not childcare, Medicare. Minnesota has Medicare too, but different issue. It's the CDPAP, I forgot what it's called. Some type of system where it can help give people money to take care of their family members. Now, when you hear that, I know you got to say to yourself, Larry, that sounds great. It does sound nice. It does. But I'm just throwing money at people into their families. And we found out there were people who weren't even there. They were living in different countries. People were getting checks. And when an inspector came by, they were being utterly fraudulent and pretending they were other people. Could that happen if it was a community? If it wasn't debt coming from the federal government, but it was local taxation from local people? They would know. They would say, Grandma's not there. I saw her get in the car. She drove off. She got an airplane. She's gone. She ain't been here in weeks. We don't need all those inspectors. Not just that, there would be social consequences for that. That family has kids that go to school. That family has businesses. That family has jobs, probably in the neighborhood. Are they more or less apt to scam? Again, to be clear, I'm not naive in this case. There will be scammers. But here's what I can guarantee you. If there are social and local consequences for those families, there will be less of them. If that money is coming from that community and not from the invisible, debt-ridden government of DC, there will be less of it. The answer isn't, oh, they're desperate, give them more money. And the answer isn't, oh, they're evil, put them all in jail. The answer is changing the system. Change it to make everything better. Am I crazy? Am I a bleeding heart libertarian? Maybe. You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on the Voice of Liberty on Sharpe Radio. Back with your calls and your text and your chat after the break.
Bob Savage here again for Aaron Moore. You're probably trying to head off staggering heating bills this bitter winter without shivering and dressing in layers indoors. Good thing you can do what so many have discovered, that you can slash your heating costs this fall and winter with Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters while cranking down your furnace. Even better, Aaron Moore heat is quiet, clean, and even, and healthier. No burning of oxygen and particulates to dry out your nose, sinuses, and skin. And Aaron Moore heaters are completely safe for children and pets. No exposed hot surfaces,
or heating elements to pose shock or fire hazards. Choose the best-selling Comfort Deluxe or the compact Comfort Buddy for smaller areas. Enter discount code WYSL in your shopping cart and save. Free shipping in the continental USA. Copper PTC technology means there are no bulbs to replace ever. Built like a battleship, maintenance-free air and more infrared zone heaters are the way to really save on heating bills like we do at the Voice of Liberty. Call 800-707-8725 or visit air-more.com.
Hey, if you like history and you like airplanes, the National Warplane Museum in Geneseo, New York is the place to go. Tours, exhibits, events, vintage aircraft, and more. Visit nationalwarplanemuseum.com for more details.
Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number. So happy to have you guys with me. And we are talking about fraud in Minnesota and New York, and I'm sure all across the country. But New York is over $1 billion. It's a lot of money. It is. Mike Voss is in the house. He says Hochul is aware of Medicare fraud, CPAP in 2024, and promised to end it. As of now, that same exact fraud increased with no end in sight. Media is happy to gloss over an election year. Couple pieces I'm bringing with this. Mike is completely correct. It's not just 2024. It's happened years ago. If you do a simple Google search, this has been happening for over a decade. I saw a decade. It's probably further, but I didn't check. So I know it's at least a decade of this kind of thing happening throughout the country, to include directly in New York. So Mike is 100% correct. They know this. But the problem is, it's an electoral issue. In other words, if I'm a Democrat, and Democrats have run this state for over 20 years, again, at least 20 years. So with that being the case, how do I fight against the thing, Mike, that I've been saying is so awesome? How do I fight against the thing that I want to keep funding? Now, logically, I should. Fraud is bad. Agreed. But politically, and you and I both know, they only care politically. That's all that matters. So if all you care about is politics, this makes total sense. Yeah. So I completely agree. Yes. Michael's going to say, while some could be desperate, these scams, not those people. True. And that's my point. I think you do find some desperate people here or there. You do find some. And if you found desperate people, again, if it's a community issue, you can take some time to help those desperate people. And that is my point. If we make a system to where there's less desperate people, the only people doing it are the scammers. And there'll be scammers. Let's make it harder for them to scam. And it's very simple. If it's harder to scam, there will be less scammers. So there we go. All right, let me grab some more of these comments if I could. Thank you for that, Mike, by the way. Nosy says, all kinds of fraud everywhere. New York's not special. Nosy, you are correct. And it gets worse and worse. Why? Because the more the federal government does, the easier it is to scam. For many reasons. Let me walk down a quick road if I could. I want you about something, Nosy. Mike, if you're listening, think about this if you would. There's a guy who's in trouble, whoever that guy is. He's having trouble paying his bills or getting childcare or whatever the case may be. He's in trouble. Well, someone says, hey, what's your problem? Go get in a government program. They got one for that. He goes, okay. Goes down to the office, wherever his city or county office is, applies for it. And they go, here are your benefits. Here is what you're eligible for. Note the words I'm saying. Your benefits, what you're eligible for, what you're entitled to. These are the phrases they use. If you've ever gone to do it, that's what they say. Those types of words, those phrases. You go, oh, wow, I get this, I get that. Yeah, you get this, you get that. Yeah, you qualify if X, Y, and Z are true. You get it. You go, great. You take that money or that check, and I go and I pay my bills or get my childcare, whatever. And I feel like, yeah, nothing wrong with this. It's good. I'm eligible. I'm entitled. This is my benefit. I qualify. We're good. Where's my incentive to stop? There isn't. Now I see someone else out there working. I go, you're working. Why are you working? My boss makes do X, Y, and Z. Mine doesn't. I got benefits. I'm eligible. I don't got to work. You stupid. Why are you working? Other guy goes, you're right. Why am I working? I'm a dummy. What am I thinking? So I can get benefits too? Yeah. Head on down to the place I went to. And if you're X, Y, and Z, you get even more. And that guy goes, oh, well, I got to just say I'm X, Y, and Z. Hey, did anybody check you out? No. I just filled out a form and I was good. Man, I'm going to say some stuff on my form too. Boom. Before you know it, now that's happening too. Now, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not by much. Right? I'm doing a little joke, but it's kind of real. But change that. Now it's not that. Now I have to go to my local, I don't know, Knights of Columbus. And I got to go say, hey, I'm in trouble. I need help. And it's a bunch of guys and gals in my neighborhood, in my community, who know me and go, Larry, you fell in hard times? Dude, that sucks. We know you. I went to school with you. This guy, his kid went to school with your kid. Blah, blah, blah. We used to play baseball together. Whatever. We're going to hook you up. We're going to take care of you. You got like 3 months. Can 3 months do it for you? 4 months? What could do it for you? 4 months, we get together as a community. Boom. You get 4 months of cash. Go, brother. Get yourself back in action. Let me call some people, see if I can get you a job, whatever. That's what used to happen. Doesn't happen anymore. Usually, sadly for us, or maybe not sadly, it was often based upon ethnic background or religion or churches. That was common. We don't have to go that way if we don't want to, but that was common. Communities that would help each other out. Now, how do I feel? Do I go, yeah, I deserve this. This is my benefit. And when I see somebody else there, do I go, hey, what are you, stupid? Why are you working? Go to Knights of Columbus. They'll give you money for free. I don't say that. I don't say it at all. These people I know. I am now happy and bound to those people that they helped me out when I was in trouble. Now what's my incentive? I got 4 months and they're going to help me. I better get myself in action somehow. I better either find a way, change my lifestyle, get a job, something. My incentive is do something. Now, I might be a scammer. Maybe I'm a scammer guy. In which case I spend 4 months, I take the money and do nothing because I'm a scammer. Maybe I am. They exist. Then those guys and gals on the Knights of Columbus go, good luck, chump. You out. Now I'm in trouble. Changes everything. Localism, community changes everything. It's a better way of making things work. Now, will there still be fraud and scammers? Yes, but there'll be less. And that's key. So, all righty. John says, to remove most fraud, we must make everything transparent, true, and localize as much as possible. True. Yes, absolutely. Andrea says, wouldn't it be a better idea to give a bonus to those departments that go under budget? Yes. However, you would still have to test them to ensure they have the outcomes that you want. The problem is we don't test them on outcome. That is the biggest problem of all the problems. There are many problems, but the biggest problem when it comes to government agencies is they are not judged, they are not punished, they're not rewarded based upon outcome. They are rewarded based upon amount of money they gave or serviced or people they serviced, not outcome. Andrea, if we do that based on outcome, yes, I agree. If not, they would just be worse. They would just not service and go, okay, I'm going to spend less money and not service people. So outcome, yes, then that would work. So, am I crazy? Is the government better than community? 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Radio home of the Bonnies. Avon, Rochester, WLEA, WLEA-FM, Hornell, New York. Canisteo Valley Update.
Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard told us today on that fatal accident from Thursday night on 390 in Avoca. The sheriff says the accident was caused by a female driver from the Waterloo area who did not survive the crash. In other news,
yeah, we had to take the AM signal down. We have a guy working on the tower right now,
congressional office until
so you can let them know they can tune any of the other 5 frequencies
and Langworthy says when the
or online. Thanks.
opens, he will let the public know. We found out from another source that the Corning Langworthy office has had in the past a brick thrown through a window and other issues happen at that office too. Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Of course.
Here, join me for the Pulse, 1 p.m. weekends, right here on the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. Mostly cloudy skies. Could be a couple of flurries, still a little breezy. Temps in the 20s and 30s. On Tuesday, mostly cloudy. Could be a late day rain or snow shower. Temps near 40. On Wednesday, some rain showers likely. And it will turn sharply colder with a chance for a bit of snow and temps dropping into the teens and 20s Thursday. I'm Rich Canilia for the Voice of Liberty.
Start something new in 2026, but you'll need the key from Dansville Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Franklin Street near the airport. Lease a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo SUV at just $279 a month for 39 months, $2,500 cash or trade down, 7,500 miles per year. A 2026 Jeep Compass Limited SUV is only $199 a month for 27 months, $2,500 cash or trade down, 7,500 miles per year. A 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab pickup is $329 a month, 39 months, 2,500 cash or trade down, 10,000 miles per year. A 2026 Jeep Wrangler Convertible is just $259 a month for 39 months, 2,500 cash or trade, 7,500 miles per year. All lease deals require first payment, lease loyalty, except Wrangler DMV taxes and fees due at signing. Other conditions may apply. See dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Hornell, Wellsville, Bath, Angelica, and Canisteo. It's Dansville Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Franklin Street near the airport.
Your go-to standard and specialized business insurance coverage. MGM Associates of Rochester, now serving the region and beyond in New York. Since 1984, MGM has provided leading coverage from a wide range of carriers. Not only home, condo, boat, motorcycle, and auto, but also specialized policies for all types of businesses, including nonprofits and law firms, livery insurance, property insurance, and bonds for all needs. MGM Associates of Rochester provides auto, workers' comp, healthcare, and liability coverage. Choose from virtual appointments or good old in-office, in-person consults by appointment at our Penfield office. Now 7-time winner of the National Best Practices Award, MGM is proud to support veterans groups. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, meet the experienced staff at MGM Associates, locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield.
Okay, we got 2 calls. First Keith and then Mike.
MGMinsure.com. An associate.
You're welcome.
41 Taj Avenue, Branchville, New Jersey, 07890.
Normally, it's the highs that bring you joy, but with the new Advantage Home Equity line of credit options, our low rates will take your breath away. What's so breathtaking about it? The new Home Equity line of credit starts at just 3.99 introductory annual percentage rate for the first 4 months with no closing costs. After the introductory period, it can be as low as 0.5% below the prime rate. Go to AdvantageFCU.org to get the lowdown. Equal housing lender insured by NCUA. Membership subject to eligibility. After 4 months, variable APRs as low as 0.5% below prime. Call Advantage or see our website for details on credit costs and terms.
What if if you could take a college course where you use courage, determination, and a good pair of boots. A course with activities like rifle marksmanship, rappelling, and leadership training, where you learn the skills necessary to inspire others and prepare yourself for life's adversities. A course that could pay your college tuition and upon completion would place you directly into a respected career and be a leader. Or if you could start strong and never look back. To learn more about enhancing your college experience with Army ROTC at Roberts, visit www.roberts.edu/Army ROTC or email rotc@roberts.edu. Paid for by Army ROTC at Roberts.
Are you tired of unreliable trash service? Experience the difference with Dependable Disposal. We offer residential trash and recycling tote service. We're local, affordable, and dependable. Make the dependable choice for a cleaner tomorrow. Visit dependable-disposal.com to experience the difference today.
Tom Waltz team member Laura.
Hot, crispy fries? So good, you'll say you're ordering your own, but we all know you'll eat mine. Heaping fries. Want some? Tom Waltz.
Share the good times. Tom Waltz.
Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number if you want to reach out to me. John actually has a quick post. He says, if I was scammed, I'd rather be scammed for $50 than $500. Yes, I'd like no scamming. I agree. But it is a massive country. There'll be some. Let's make it as little as possible. And then easier to get and catch and punish. I'm with you completely. Let me grab a call if I could. This is Keith. Keith, how are you, sir?
Oh, hanging in there. Hopefully you too. When you keep saying that
The other call dropped.
needs better oversight in these government programs, you're neglecting to say it was the Democrats who deliberately brought these scammers in. That the replacement theory is valid. The Dems know better than our side that there will be people who will never vote for them and their progressive platforms. Just as we should know on our side, there are now hard, fast lefties way beyond the Democrats of our parents and grandparents' Democrat Party who will never think like us. Both sides are guilty. The rhino governor in Ohio, Republican, a guy named DeWine, that Republican said, well, you just have to understand that in any program there's going to be a certain amount of fraud and grift. So that's a very bad attitude for the top executive of any state to have. So it's both parties. But when I was hearing you talk this past half hour, you're not being political enough. The Democrats did this deliberately. If I were president, I would flat out declare the Democrat Party an outlaw party. All of them, I would say to the American people, all of the Democrat members in Congress are now communists and they're on the take of the drug lords. That when the Democrats shied Trump for going into Venezuela, I want everyone to listen to this, no matter what they think of me, conservative. The Democrats are against everything that is good for America. And I mean, they, someone could say...
The mic is back as next call.
With Trump, the Trump mania, that they just hate Trump, the despot, and the would-be king. But it really has to do that the Democrats do not like America. They don't like our American way of life. They consider us to be the evil force in the world.
Hold on. I got to grab a couple of these, but you gave me a lot. Keith. Let me grab a couple of these. First piece. I did say that the government brought them in. Literally true. I did say that up front. The government brought them in and then had programs that allowed these people, communities of communities, to take advantage of them. I did say that, to be clear. I started my entire piece with that piece. We find that, sadly, most of the fraud we're finding is from specific immigrant communities. That's true. In New York, it was heavily, I think, South Asian, if I'm not mistaken. And in Minnesota, it was heavily East African. Heavily. Now, of course, there are frauds of every color, background, of course, but you're not wrong in saying it's often immigrant communities. That's true. And the government let them in. But this began heavily in the 60s and 70s. And to your point, while maybe Republicans weren't always in charge when that happened, true, they didn't stop it. If you remember, Reagan gave amnesty because they were flooding in the 70s, right? Not as bad. And they've been better since then. Clinton wasn't that bad. Neither was Obama. He wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad compared to Bush. Trump obviously has been the harshest, which is fine. Biden was the worst. Biden was terrible, extraordinarily bad. But he wasn't as bad, say, again, I'm not saying I'm happy with Obama as a president. I'm not saying that. But if I compare Bush, Obama, Trump, Clinton, Biden is 20 times worse. Not even close. And then Republicans never stopped it, except Trump. I'll give Trump credit. He stopped it, true. Prior to him, they didn't do anything. Again, Reagan gave amnesty. So you're right that Democrats are the ones who began it, true, under Johnson more than anything else, back in the 60s. But Republicans haven't stopped it, except Trump. I give Trump credit, he did, but the rest haven't. And I hate the fact that it's immigrants, but it is. It doesn't mean that the immigrants are by default bad. It doesn't mean it by default. It means that they have voting power. And Walt said it. You saw the mayor of Minneapolis say it. They want those votes. They're like, I want those votes. And that's why they do it. Do I think Democrats actually care one way or the other? I don't. I don't. I think they only care about power. And they just want those votes. And that's that. These guys give me votes, I'm in. Kathy Hochul, when the CDPAP, she's like, this will get me votes. She's not wrong. So I think it's less of a I hate America and much more of a I just want power and I don't care. Does that make sense at least, Keith?
Yes, two fast points. Reagan was naive. He thought the Democrats would deal clean and straight up on the illegal issue. He was bamboozled, and he really wasn't thinking straight on that, Reagan. I want to ask you, are these bad people, these scammers, going to be denaturalized and kicked out of the country? That's the big question. Are we going to see these Somalians and South Asians and Haitians, are we going to see them actually removed from the country, completely denaturalized and sent back whole numbers of their groups?
There is literally no mechanism for that whatsoever. We would have to create an entire mechanism for that. The only way you could possibly do it is maybe if they were treasonous in some way, shape, or form. But fraud, there is zero mechanism to that at all, Keith. So I don't see that happening at all. We just don't have a mechanism for it. We don't have a precedent for it. It's not a thing. So I know you didn't like that answer, but I'm just giving you the answer that I know. Thanks for that, Keith. I appreciate it. Let me grab another call if I could. This is Mike. Mike, how are you, sir?
Hey, Larry, pretty good. Hey, Keith killed a lot of my steam here. But as far as your community,
give me what you got left.
Well, as far as your community welfare program, the Somalis were doing that. Okay, they did it all in house, right? They hired their own, they built their own community, and they scanned the system.
Yeah, here's my point, Mike. I'm glad you said that. I think that first part is a great part, but the problem is now they're creating their own system internally. That part's great, but then the government says, well, here's more money. My point is the government should just be like, good, you do that, right? Good, you do that. We're done. That's all that matters, right? The problem is, to match what you said, I have a comment. Carl says, yeah, unless the community's lying like Minnesota. But here's the issue. If that community's lying, but it's only their money, why do I care? I care if it's my money or federal government debt. If we erase the federal government debt part, and Carl and Mike, it's not your money. If they scam themselves, they can police themselves. It's their money. And that's my point. What we should be doing, allowing them to do, and we stopped them. This was what they were trying to do back with the Black Panthers back in California. They were trying to create their own world. This is the original Malcolm X idea of saying Black people will support Black people. We don't want your welfare. We don't want your war on poverty. And what happened to all of them? Well, they went in the ground. And in the case of the Black Panthers, for sure, it was the government. We know that. Malcolm X, it might have been the government too, right? Went in the ground. And my point in this whole thing, Mike, is if we just stop at people trying to support themselves, then you don't have to worry about it. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does make sense. You know what it is we're a Western culture that is a high trust culture, and all these people coming in are scammers. Every single one of them, because this is how they survive in their country. Okay.
Well, let me be clear on that part. I want to make a clear issue here. It isn't that they're scammers. I mean, those people are, but it isn't that they are. It's that they see themselves and where they came from as very tribal. And I don't mean that as in like tribal, like tribes. In some cases, that's true. But I mean that my clan, my group has to survive against other clans, groups, tribes, even within a government or within a nation. That's where they come from. So very often, it's rare. It does happen. But unless they are actual scammers, they don't scam their own. Again, there are bad guys. They stay within their own. So they think everyone else is the enemy because that's where they came from. So just being clear, that's the cultural issue I want to make a distinction. Does that make sense, Mike?
He's gone.
Oh, sorry, I lost Mike. But yes, I want to make that difference. It's not that they're scamming. They see that these people are. But as a culture, they see themselves as we have to protect ourselves. And my point is, then let them. Let them. I'm okay with that. Why are we involved? That's the issue. Am I crazy? Am I wrong? Is there a better answer? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with more of your calls and more of your chat after the break.
Debunking advertising from the law office of...
Okay, we have Nate.
What had some injury attorneys inundate you with, what's your case worth? Call us and find out. You know, nobody can tell you, quote, what your case is worth over the phone. Nobody knows. The ultimate answer to, quote, what your case is worth involves weeks or months of research, evaluation, and preparation. Many factors go into any compensation you might get, like applicable law, who's actually at fault, how much insurance coverage there is, and many, many other factors. At the law office of Christopher Johnson, the singular focus is getting your life back on track after an accident or injury. That takes money, and it helps when the advice and legal advice you get has a one-on-one focus informed by straight talk. Christopher Johnson, attorney, car, truck, motorcycle accidents, personal injury, and DWI defense. Call 585-415-3803. 585-415-3803.
The youth of our city are in a new crisis. Criminal justice reform has created the consequences of no consequences and generated a whole new generation of 12 to 17-year-old kids committing serious crimes. Never before have we had this level of youthful offenders, but 90% of these kids are just trying to do the right thing and need a safe sanctuary to retreat to. That's Rochester Youth for Christ. You can be a part of this solution by giving generously and regularly at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Sharpe Way Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. So happy you're giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. We got a couple of quick comments. Daydream Believer says, it sounds like Mike respects the Somalis. Honestly, we can't change Somali people even if we have the heart to. Well, two things. One, I don't want to change them. I want them to be as they see fit. I'm not bothered with them. My issue is, why are we writing them checks? Look, I've told you before, I'm happy with the Amish. The Amish don't ask you for money. They make their own world. They make it good. Somehow Pennsylvania's trying to beat them up. I'm not. If the Somalis said, we're coming from Somalia and we want to build our own community and we're going to pay for our own people and do our own thing and build ourselves out. And when we interact with non-Somalis, we're just going to follow the law and have contract law. And that's it, as the Amish do. I don't have a problem. You're not asking for stuff. You want to have your own world? Good for you. And if you want to interact with the Somalis, you may. You follow contract law and you do whatever it is. And if they break contract law, you go to court. They break the law. They get arrested, whatever. That's it. This can be done, except we're so far away from it. And that's my worry. We're so far away from it. We've got to start cutting the ties of the federal government and letting local people be local, leaving people alone. What will happen naturally is over time, Daydreamer, Somali people will go, hey, I like interacting with mainstream America. I'll start interacting with mainstream America, and I'll start following the standards that are in mainstream America. How do I know that? In the past, that always happened. What was missing in the past? Government intervention. Government intervention has made that almost impossible. When the government doesn't intervene, people will naturally assimilate as they see fit. If a culture is very different from mainstream American culture, it will take longer time. It might take 2 or 3 generations, but they will eventually assimilate. Some won't. Some will say, hey, I want to stay in my Somali enclave, and I'm going to live there. We see it with Chinese communities, Chinatowns everywhere. Some Chinese people say, no, I'm going to stay in my Chinese enclave. And some go, no, I'm going to go out and interact as I see fit. And that's what we need to do. Take away government interference, and that happens naturally. All right, let me grab a call if I could. This is Nate. Nate, how are you, sir?
Hey, Larry, how are you?
What's going on?
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you for coming out to Rome, New York, to the VFW. It was really good having you.
I appreciate that. That was amazing, guys. Like, by the way, if those listening, I did a tour last weekend, and Rome VFW was one of them.
Yes, sir. Also, I don't know if you noticed or not, but the Rome Sentinel, they did a piece on you. That they were there.
We have Roger on hold.
And they didn't ask any questions, but they took down some notes and so on and so forth. And one of the notes that they made was that you made the claim that all these companies, nanotech and Wolfspeed, military industrial complex type things, they come in, they get the tax breaks, and then they don't create any jobs. Well, their reporting was pretty unbiased until it got to that point, and then they wanted to counter you and say, well, they actually did create jobs, and I don't know, they had a number how many jobs that were created or whatever. But I was wondering if you had a rebuttal to their one little bias piece that they inserted in their reporting on you.
I do. I went live on that. So if anyone thinks I'm not telling the truth, it's literally on my website. I'm sorry, on my website. It's on my YouTube page if you care. I didn't say they don't create jobs. What I said was they never create what they say. That's what I said, and I stand by that. If they say 1,000, it's never 1,000. If they say it averages 100,000, it's not. I never said they don't provide jobs. I never said that. What I said is they never do what they promise us. And I stand by that 100%. Never. Not 1%, not 2%, not 10%. 0. Whatever some big military industrial complex company comes in and says, they never do what they say. If they say 5,000 jobs, it's 2,000. If they say $10,000, it's 3,000. It's never what they say ever. That is what I said, and I stand by that. And them saying I did no jobs is untrue. I didn't say it. I never said that.
I appreciate you clearing that up, Larry. I just wanted to make sure that was out there in the ether.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. So, yeah, guys, I complain constantly about bribing big business to come in. And for some reason, particularly those who are establishment types, oh, no, we got to be happy they're coming in. Micron's going to save us, or whatever company, DeWitt, it's going to be amazing, whatever. Whatever they say, it will never be that. Whatever it is. And over time, they will pack up and leave. They will take all the benefits they gave, take them away with them, and the people left over will pay the bill. That happens every single time. I don't know what we're thinking about. Haven't we learned our lesson yet? Perhaps not. Let me get on the call if I could. This is Roger. Roger, how are you, sir?
Good. So let me go through this real quick. So one, both parties want immigrants because their big money donors benefit for hiring cheap instead of hiring us. The only time they'll hire Americans is prison labor. Thank you, Kamala Harris. That was sarcasm.
She was good at that. I'll give her that. I'm going to give Harris something. She was good at using prison labor. That's true.
2, Reagan was not bamboozled by the Democrats. He knew exactly what he was doing. This is why I want to abolish political parties, Larry, because people look the other way or go soft on their guy while going hard on the other guy. I go hard on everybody. I don't care about
I've noticed, Roger.
Although I like you, Larry. I like you, but 3.
I get it. I know. You go hard on me sometimes too, Roger. So yes, I know.
Okay.
So good.
3. Obama is still the deported in chief despite what Trump has been doing. He's all show, and the reason why he was good at it is because he's surgical. You know, Trump is like poke, smash. Obama is more like a ninja, surgically deported more people than Trump has. Not an Obama fan either. Just stating the fact. 4, about Somalis being scammers. You know what? I think people are upset because they scamming better than Americans. They're like, hey, you just got here. How you shoot ahead of me in the scamming department? You know what I mean? So I think that's what it's really about. Is that we're supposed to be knowing how to run it. How you just get here and you learn the system so in and out so quick and you getting ahead of us. So I think that's really
this goes back to my point. And that is, if you look at where many countries where these people are coming from, they've had to survive by doing that, by worrying about their own clan or tribe or group or family. So it is natural for them when they come here to worry about your own tribe or group or whatever the case may be. We don't have that same thing in America in general. And when we've done it in the past, often the government has literally broken it up, often with violence.
Ever since we transitioned starting in the 70s and ramped it up in the 80s from a stable, worker-friendly economy, where by the end of the Reagan administration, job security was dead, worker protection was dead, unions were dead, the income inequality gap rose. We've seen the valuing of our currency when we were taking off the Bretton Woods standard. You know, a dollar don't go as far, so now you got to make even more money. So that encourages more scamming and so on and so forth. So what ended up happening was we now were in a very volatile society and economy. So what ended up happening was they saw scamming was the thing to do, whether it was real estate, pyramid schemes, crypto, and now, yes, your favorite AI. The unwinding began with Nixon, and it still continues.
I'm not going to fight you on that one. I'm not fighting you on that. Thank you for the call, Roger. I appreciate it. That was a good back and forth. And yeah, I'm hard on all of them too. It's true, and we all should be. I just want to say thank you so much for giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.